fun hockey team.
What's going on? What's happened to these guys?
I honestly don't know, Keith.
That's why we have an expert on.
It's why we have the Razor on every week.
That's right.
On a Bruins Thursday, Andrew Raycroft of Nesson. He joins us here, brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning, the name to know. When your drains don't flow. Razor, what's going on?
Good morning, guys. I figured instead of talking Bruins and save me from that, we could just talk about what time it is in Canada across all the different provinces.
How did I do?
I would like to know.
How did I do, Razor?
15 minutes that way.
How did I do? I think I did pretty good, didn't I?
Yeah, you seem like you know it.
I know the Maritimes.
Yeah, you're all over it. And actually, we could debate, or I have an argument that says that Boston should actually be on Atlantic Standard Time, like PEI in Nova Scotia, because we're so far east, we have no sunlight, and it would actually help our daylight savings issues. So if we went on Atlantic time, it would be we'd be an hour ahead of New York, and we'd be smarter than them.
So I do like that idea until you get into things like Monday Night Football starting at 10 o'clock. That seems like it would be late.
No, it started earlier.
No, you're right.
Right.
Come on, Jones. You were doing so well. No, it would start later.
I just knew what time it was there. I'm now trying to think about what time it would be here. Yeah, Monday Night Football at 9?
That's a problem.
Hey.
That is, 9:30 even by the time it gets.
And we start earlier?
Right.
Oh, boy.
Just another quick one to distract from the Bruins is Newfoundland's a half an hour. It's another half an hour ahead. Then that's why they're Newfies, because it's an hour and a half ahead.
That's
which is
outrageous.
So
a
random.
half hour
Yes,
difference?
that's how
Now
we're
you do the
running.
math in your head?
Keith, that's why they're goofy Newfies.
100%.
They don't do any.
Exactly
They
why.
don't do anything right there, Razor.
I can't figure that out.
No.
It's too much.
That's wild, huh?
Okay.
Well, thanks for coming on, Razor. We'll talk to you next week.
Well, and by the way, I was going to say, welcome to America. I don't know if you realize all of Canada is going to be part of America soon. So welcome on that front.
Yes, it is.
What is wrong with the Bruins?
I'm having so much fun with it.
What's going on with the Bruins, Razor? Because it's 5 straight losses and 6 out of 7, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a tough go from out of the holidays where everyone was feeling very good about it, and the reality, they played 2 really good road games last week and lost both of them 2-1, but everything was fine. And then you realize what happens in the NHL when you don't win games you're supposed to, like those 2-1 games. You don't score, you don't find a way, it starts to snowball on you, and that's where they're at here on the schedule. So. A couple reasons. I think we're really seeing how important Hampus Lindholm is to this team. I think you're able to survive without him for 4 weeks, but I think the depth of the defense over on the left side is catching up. The ability to put him on a power play and his ability to create offense. Don't forget he was the hero before David was the hero in Game 7 last year, scoring a goal late, jumping into rushes. So I think we're missing him is a problem, and then the power play. I just keep going to this power play. It is getting to the point where you're not even excited when they have a power play opportunity right now. Like, and I don't mean us. I mean, like, the team themselves are like, you can see the stress when the power play has to jump over the boards, and whether it's the shorthanded goal the other night or going up against an Edmonton Oilers team who their power play is going to score at some point and not being able to match it, it's really hurting them.
Now, we heard fire Don Sweeney chants at the Garden in the game against Edmonton. I've kind of defend him. Like, I'm not saying it's a perfect roster by any means, but it seems like most fans are saying, "Oh, this roster is garbage." Like, what is Joe Sacco supposed to do? I look at the players on there. I feel like it's decent to good players just underachieving. Where do you come down? Like, to me, this is clearly a playoff roster, or am I wrong?
Yeah, I'm with you 100%, Keith. I get the sense. There's a little bit of. I think the Patriots carry the water in this town, right? And I feel like because of what's gone on down there this season, it's carried over a little bit into the other teams, the negativity, and similar to, it's like either the coach or it's the roster. And because the Bruins fired their coach already, it has to be the roster. And I agree. I think going into this year, they added the top centerman in the free agent pool. They added the top left-handed defenseman, 2 things they needed vitally. And they assumed that they were going to at least get half as much as they did from the guys who had career years last year. And none of that's happened. I can't imagine I don't see how the power play clipping at 11%, which is the lowest in franchise history, if it ends the season today, how that's on Don Sweeney. Like the players are out there. There's a guy that scored 60 goals in this league out in that power play, and it's not clicking. So I agree with you. Of course, it's throughout the whole organization. When you lose games like that on home ice, no one's happy, but I don't go directly to that.
Well, but here's where I would say it's on Sweeney. I didn't mind the roster he put together in the offseason either. I'm with Keefe and you on that. I thought they upgraded from a year ago, so I'm fine with that. But when it's clearly not working and the power play's operating at, I didn't realize this, potentially a franchise worst 11%, and we're not talking about, the Columbus Blue Jackets history or something like that. We're talking about a long history. What you can do is fix it. Like, you have to look at it and say, either, well, everybody's going to level out, they're going to regress to the mean, or this isn't working, I got to do something about it. So that's where I would blame Sweeney. Now you got to do something about it.
Yeah, and we're getting to the point in the NHL calendar where those deals start getting made. That starts to ramp up. Typically through the holidays, you'll get a couple deals right before the holiday of just clearing things out, and you're going to start seeing some movement. Now, the issue is, especially in the Eastern Conference, everyone feels like they have a chance to get in the playoffs, and how that shakes out. Who are the actual sellers? Who's actually willing to make moves for players that can help a power play? That kind of remains to be seen. But I think once we get through the moms trip, the moms are on the trip this weekend. I think you open up movement between now and the Four Nations break.
How dicey could the next 3 games be? Tampa Bay, Florida, Tampa Bay again.
Sorry, what was that?
I was just saying, how dicey could, you're riding a 5-game losing streak as it is, and you got Tampa Bay twice and Florida over the next 3 games.
Yeah, you can't lose 8 in a row in this league. You lose 8 in a row, and you get to a week from now with no more points in the standing. Someone else in the league is going to have 3, 4, 5. A few teams are going to have 3, 4, 5 more points a week from now in the standing. So you can't let it happen. I think, again, it's a weird random thing, but having the moms on this trip couldn't have come at a better time to change the energy, to give you a little bit of positivity at this time of the year in this part of the schedule. So you hope you get a bump there. And listen, like I said, they did play pretty good hockey last week. They didn't play great the last couple of games, giving up too many goals, but they had it going pretty good against the Washington Capitals team, and they just have to get back to that and find a way this weekend to grab points.
You have any good mom's trip stories? These hockey moms get after it a little bit, or what?
Oh yeah, they're nuts. They're nuts. So unfortunately, my mom didn't get to go. My dad went 3 times, and as you can imagine, the dads they're knuckleheads. Like they get together, and it's just, you don't know where they're sleeping. You're worried about where they are in the morning. And, I'm getting up like, did my dad make it home? Like, was he okay? Did the road swallow him up? But the moms are way more fun because they become best friends instantly. Right? Like, they're all best friends, I'm sure, at dinner last night, and they're telling stories about their kids. They're so proud, and the Chardonnay starts flying, and it gets hilarious. So it'll be fun to see them on the road for sure. It really is the best weekend as a pro, like as an NHLer. Like, I remember those weekends so vividly to have them around.
So maybe it's a stupid question. They're at everything on this trip. Like they're out with you guys. They're going to like morning skates and stuff, or do they have like free time where all the moms are running wild around whatever city you're in? Tampa in this case.
No, I'm sure they had a full, like, for me, when we went, we'd have a big dinner. Everyone would be together, and you'd tell a little story about your dad at the meal and build that camaraderie. And then, of course, everyone would, the dads would go find somewhere to hang out all night. And then, come to pregame skate. They get on the bus with you, and they're all wearing the jerseys, and they get a real insight into what their sons are doing on a daily basis. So yeah, it's full on. They'll be in the mix all day long today. It's really cool.
Oh, interesting. I forgot to ask you about Fabian Lysell last week when he made his debut. Obviously, he got sent back down, but we saw him for 1 game. What did you think of that game, and do you think we'll see him again anytime soon?
Yeah, I do. This is a perfect part of development. So a couple plays, and another really good job by the organization on a family part of it is that his family was all here for the holidays. So they were here for Christmas. His sister, his parents, his friends from Sweden were here. So very easy for them to all see his first game. It was a perfect time to have him called up. again, one of those important things, especially the European guys, a lot of times their family can't get over here unless you give them time. In this situation, he had his parents there. So he gets to see the NHL for the first time. His family's here for it, but he also gets to really recognize what the pace is. You can play exhibition games, you can play preseason games, you can play in the minors, but until you actually play in a National Hockey League game, you don't really know. So now he knows. Now he has a little bit of a carrot dangling, and there's no question we're going to see him back here. I would guess maybe not sooner than later, meaning next week, but this time at some point this season.
I got an idea, Razor, for you got your dad's trip, you got your mom's trip. You tell me how you think this would go. Billet's sister trip. How do you think that trip would go?
I'm not touching that one at all.
The old Billet sister trip. That's Andrew Raycroft, the Razor. You can check him out on Nesson. He joins us every Bruins Thursday. Razor, we'll talk to you next week. Thanks so much.
Awesome, guys. Stay warm. Have a good weekend.
All right, thank you.
Razor with his thoughts on the Bruins. I'm with you. I don't mind the Bruins roster, or at least I didn't going into the year.
You didn't, but I mean, now it's not working, so you do have to do something.
I wasn't one of these guys saying Sweeney had a bad offseason. I was like, great, the Bruins spent Elias Lindholm. They've been linked to him for like 2 years. I didn't care as much about Zadorov, but fine. He's the top left-handed D-man on the market. Go get him. Fine. Like, I didn't have issues with that. I love paying Swayman. So I'm not retroactively crushing Sweeney for his offseason. I'm not doing that. But it doesn't work. It's not working. You fired the coach. You got a little bump from promoting Joe Sacco, and maybe, just maybe, you fattened up on a weak portion of the schedule. Fine. Now you got to figure it out. Now it is your job to solve that because, and Razor makes a good point here, the Patriots are the backdrop for how Bruins fans now are looking at their team and they're going, well, wait a minute. Regime change, although Elliott Wolf is still employed, so not a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Regime change, fire Sweeney. And if they don't make the playoffs or they circle the toilet and Sweeney does nothing and sits on his hands, that might be his fate.
But it is such a, like, that's not blaming the players in any case. And, you know, the Patriots players, as compared to the rest of the NFL, are subpar. Like, they're not, like, it's I think, crazy to scream at some of the players on the Patriots because they're not that good.
But trading players is blaming the players. Like, if I'm making trades and I'm improving the team.
Are doing that. No, that's true.
And so, yeah, I'm just telling you, it's not working, but you can't fire the whole roster. No. So you got to do something now.
Well, trade deadline's still a ways away, and like to Razor's point, a lot of these teams still think they're in it. So it's not like we've seen a lot of trades happen right now in the NHL.
No, but you also don't have to wait for everybody else to make trades.
No.
Like, you can be the one to
need
start
one other team. You need to wait for at least one other team.
But you don't need to wait. I hate this logic. Like, and this isn't just Razor. It's just like, well, no trades happen yet. You hear that all the time in baseball.
Two to tango? You don't subscribe to that?
We'll have Bradford
I'm a big two to tango guy.
We'll have Bradford on in May, and it's like, well, nobody makes trades in May. And it's like, okay, I get they don't usually happen. They do. I think Shea Hillenbrand.
Visionary.
Shea Hillenbrand got traded in May. Sometimes
pissed me the hell
early
off.
trades happen. Yeah. So, like, it does happen. I don't want to hear that it doesn't. You can do it. You're allowed to do it.
All right.
And so there are teams that know they're out of it. You don't think you can trade with the Buffalo Sabres? I'm pretty sure they're out of it.
Who are you taking off the Sabres?
How about the Islanders?
Who do you want?
How about some of these terrible teams out west? He said the Eastern Conference. How about Nashville and Chicago and San Jose? None of those guys are ready to make trades. They're all out of it.
They're playing spoiler.
617-779-7937. Yeah, Billet.
I mean, they might lose 8 in a row, though.
No, they definitely.
Yeah.
They don't beat Florida.
When he was talking about the mom strip, I was going to make a Corey Perry joke, but then I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because that's not who I am.
No. I do like
and I think he said that didn't happen.
I do like the idea. Oh, did Corey Perry say that?
There was a thing, yeah, I think they came out. I think both sides said did not happen.
Did not happen.
So you got to believe him.
Maybe that's what Trent Frederick was telling him when he
socking him in the face.
Pounded him the other day.
Don't look at my mom.
Oh, you looking at my mom, Corey?
You dare look at
my mom? I know your track record, Corey.
Punch her in the face.
But no, I do like the idea of the dads on the dad's trip. They just wake up the next day and they're like, does my dad even get back to the hotel?
Just hammered all over the city that they're in. It's a good time. Yeah. Your kid's in the NHL. I guess you know.
It sounds
get
great.
after it.
Sounds great.